I've never really been into K-pop, so I went into this completely out of my element, and somehow it became one of my favorite animated movies of the year. This movie instantly kicks off with introducing why the hunters are so important and why the demons are trying to stop them, plus a really cool performance scene that kept me locked in even with the music mismatch. And speaking of the demons, the designs are actually pretty interesting. Like, they're kind of ugly, but I guess that makes sense because they are demons. And one thing I'll mention that I liked a lot was how they can change to look like humans but can't act like humans. Like, you see him pouring a coffee cup into a plant, like, it just gives it away. You'd think they would be a bit smarter and not just be so obvious with it to give it away, because their plan might have worked if they just weren't so obvious about not being able to act like a person. And while we're talking about demons, I want to talk about the Saja boys because their introduction is actually really cool. And whenever they first give the Fire Lord the idea of their little boy band,
a demon boy band,
he just laughs and calls it stupid. That really got me. I thought it was hilarious. All jokes aside, I really did like the Saja boys, and I thought Juni had an amazing character arc that I'll get into later in the video. But right now, I want to talk about the Huntrix introduction, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know any of their names until like halfway through the movie, but I like how they are all their own character, and they aren't just carbon copies of each other. Like, Zoe is like the optimist one, and she's like the glue of the group who keeps everyone together, and Mira's like the protector, or like the realist, or like the really blunt one that is just straight up about everything. And then we get to Rumi. She's the leader, but she's also the most secretive one, and her secrets really cause some bumps in the road for the group later on. But I do think two of the characters could have used more introduction, and that's Mira and Zoe. Like, we get the short introduction at the start whenever everybody's introduced, but there isn't really much built after that. Like, we know they're part of the Huntrix, and we know they're friends with Rumi and that whole dynamic, but we don't really know much about their past like we do Rumi. We know a lot more about her than the other two. I personally would have connected with those two characters more if they just built upon that. Now I want to talk about the bathhouse fight, and this is right after they find out that Saja boys are actually demons who are using music to corrupt instead of to protect like they do. And this scene is actually really sick. Like, the action and the animation and the way they show that the Huntrix aren't just singers, they're actually capable fighters as well. It just adds another layer to the characters that I personally didn't see coming. Like, I know it says K-pop demon hunters, but for some reason the hunters just went over my head, and I just wasn't ready for the whole big action scenes and them actually just waxing demons like they're nothing. On the Huntrix side, reveals how her secrets is causing the disconnect within the group and how they're powerful together, but since she has that secret, it's causing them to be weaker. And that's also the reason why the Hun Moon is starting to weaken and show cracks.
Look at all the weak spots. We've never seen the whole moon like this before.
Which is also giving the demons more leverage and ability to come into the real world. And throughout the movie, you can see Mira getting really suspicious of Rumi about what she's hiding, but she can't quite figure it out, even though she knows something's up.
Look, I'm pretty good at reading people. Actually, I'm kind of an expert at it, and I just can't shake this feeling that you're keeping something from me.
And this leads me directly into the train scene when Mira and Zoe tell Rumi they can't do it without her and she needs to figure it out. They still don't know what the secret is or what's being hidden, but they know it's something, so they just tell her, figure it out. Once you get your voice back, come to us. We need to do this together. And this dynamic really feels organic, and it's not just forced drama. It's built up throughout the movie, even if it's not said or if it's not shown directly. There's that growing sense of distrust and friction within the group. And most of this tension is caused by Rumi's past with her mentor Celine, who basically raised her to believe her demon heritage was a death sentence and a source of deep shame, so she always hid it. She kept having cover up, don't show it, don't let anybody know.
We can cover those up and put everything right again. I'll tell Mira and Zoe that it was all a lie, an illusion.
So this really took a huge toll on her growing up because she can never be her full self around anyone. She can never express that other side of her, even though she's still her, but always having to keep that secret will 100% take toll on anyone, especially a kid having to go through that. Oh, and the reveal about how she's part demon and it's starting to affect her voice was a big surprise, seeing as she's literally a hunter and kills demons. So the fact that that's what's affecting her ability to to protect the world hits even harder. And this leads me directly into the Rumi slash Juni dynamic, because that dynamic is a huge reason why she actually gets her voice back. And the scene right after the bathhouse scene is where Rumi meets up with Jinu for the first time. And I'm not gonna lie, you don't know how the scene is gonna go. Are they gonna fight? Are they gonna fall in love? We have no idea. But it turns out they have a lot more in common than you first might think. And they are almost like two sides of the same coin. Both of them just wanting to be themselves completely. But there's this part of them that they're hiding and they don't want the world to see because they feel ashamed of it. And because of this similarity throughout the movie, you see the two of them just getting a lot closer and how they feel like they almost complete each other. Like Juni's voices in his head get quieter, Rumi gets her voice back, and they both talk about how they can't move forward without facing their past. Like both of them have been running from their past for so long, it's actually starting to consume them from the inside, and they can't move forward without confronting the past. And I think this is a really amazing message that I did not expect to get from this movie at all. Like this is something we can all take from this movie into our real lives and put into effect. Like we all have things we're ashamed of or we're not happy of, or things that happen, but you can't move on or grow as a person until you accept those things. So this is such a good message, and I actually love that for this movie. And really quick, I know I've sprinkled it throughout the video, but when Mira and Zoe find out that Rumi is a demon and is one of the things that they have sworn to destroy their whole lives,
You were never supposed to see.
You were hiding this from us this whole time?
it's like a shot to the heart for them. Like they don't know whether to still trust and love their friend or, oh, that's a demon. So you can tell in the scene that it tears them apart. Like they don't know what to believe, and they eventually end up pulling their weapons out on Rumi, not to kill her, but they don't trust her, right? So they're pulling their weapons out to keep distance because they don't know what to believe. Was she always using them? Was she playing the long game? Right now it's very much in limbo on whether she's their friend or she's fully demon. They have no idea, so they just played it safe. And right after this happens, her world is falling apart. She's losing everything. Everyone knows her secret. This is her rock bottom. Her secret is out. Nobody trusts her. Her band is broken up, and her goal of saving the world is over. You can tell this causes her to have an internal battle with herself. I can't be fixed. Am I destroying everything I care about? And this just hits really hard because you know she's not a terrible person, but since she grew up believing one thing, she herself believes she is a mistake and she shouldn't have existed, and it's all her fault. So she goes to confront Juni, one of the only people who knew about her secret and was part of the reason why it got revealed. So by the time the final act comes around, Juni is the one who is feeling guilty for what he had done, and Rumi is the one who has turned full heel. Like she has nothing to lose now, and she is just falling deeper into that demon role and being consumed by anger and hate. Like she even says,
If this is the Honmoon I'm supposed to protect, I'm glad to see it destroyed.
which is something she would never say. And I will say, the turnaround from her going full demon mode to her stepping in for that one final attempt to stop them is kind of fast, but it's so powerful that it doesn't even matter. Oh, and don't even get me started on the final act of this movie. It is like perfect. It wraps up all the arcs. It wraps up the story, and it especially wraps up Rumi's arc, and it shows her finally accepting herself for who she is. Oh man, when Jinu stands in for Rumi and gives his soul, that wraps up his redemption arc into a self-sacrifice, and that scene didn't miss.
No, I wanted to set you free.
You did. You gave me my soul back.
Like, it's not far-fetched, it's not out of character, it's something you could believe that he would actually do. And although it happens fast, and like, you know, how they kind of both swap from them both being solidified as evil to flipping to being the light of the show is kind of fast, but it doesn't take away from the overall final act. And really quick, a sequel is heavily rumored and very likely to happen after this movie's success, so I'm actually very interested in where they are going to take the story in the second movie. And I'm pretty sure it's rumored to come out in like 2029, but that's not confirmed, so take it with a grain of salt. Also, I'm pretty sure all the actors and the creators of this movie are ready to come back for a second one. Plus, like I said, it was a major success, so I have no doubt that there's going to be a second one. We're just kind of waiting on a formal announcement. And if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. But that Up song, I don't remember the official name, but it kind of hits. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not a big fan of K-pop, but that song especially, like that song goes hard. But yeah, from someone who isn't your typical K-pop K-pop fan, I actually really like this movie. So if you skip this because you're not into K-pop, you are making a big mistake. And in my opinion, it was probably a top 3 animated movie of 2025. So yeah, I will be seated in theater when the next one eventually comes out, even though I'm gonna be a certified unk. But with that said, stay tuned and keep the conversation going.